Hey, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy Freaky Gaming, and welcome back to another daily gaming news video where I bring you gaming news from all throughout the gaming world. Now to start today's gaming news video off, I have some Elder Scrolls 6 rumors for you. Now, in a few articles recently published online, it says that many industry analysts are predicting a 2017 release date for the Elder Scrolls 6. Now guys, in an article recently published by Attack of the Fanboy, it says this: The Elder Scrolls 6 will release in 2017. At least that's what one notorious gaming analyst believes. Michael Patchter, I believe that's how you pronounce that. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, of Wedbush Securities, has made the bold prediction about the Elder Scrolls series that has even Bethesda themselves scratching their heads. Despite Bethesda Game Studios and their public relations team refuting all rumors up to this point, Patchter believes that the next installment of the Elder Scrolls series will indeed arrive next year, the analyst told Games Industry in their yearly predictions article. Now, that's not all Patchter or Attack of the Fanboy had to say in this article about the Elder Scrolls 6 rumors. The article also goes on to say this: Patchter says the next Elder Scrolls installment comes out, the next Half-Life installment does not. I think Bethesda is close, and I think that Valve is not. However, I'd like to be half wrong on this one. Does Patchter know something that no one else does? It doesn't look like it. When the article was published, Bethesda PR at DC Deacon once again explained that the Elder Scrolls 6 is still a ways off, and that there are numerous projects being worked on at the studio that will come out before this new RPG. Now, I'm not sure if Patchter knows something that many of us don't, if he has some type of inside information on the Elder Scrolls 6. However, I'm not too sure, but later in this article, it also says that Patchter went on to change his prediction, and that was covered in this part of the article right here. Patchter's comments certainly stirred the pot when it comes to the Elder Scrolls 6 release date rumors, but it appears that Bethesda has already made the analyst change his tune. I'll change my prediction to 2018, but you don't have my permission for later, says Patchter. Now guys, if Patchter changed his prediction, I don't think he really has that much inside information on the Elder Scrolls 6, but it is possible that he does, and maybe he just doesn't want people to find out somehow. Now, I covered Fallout 4 for a long time and Bethesda's Game Studios content for a very long time on my channel, and that's sort of what got my channel started. So if you want my personal opinion, do I think that Elder Scrolls 6 could come out in 2017 or 2018? I think it is possible, but I don't think it is highly likely, because Bethesda has said that they are working on a lot of projects and that the Elder Scrolls 6 is a long way off multiple times, and that was also covered in this article, in this segment right here. If you guys want to read it for yourself, you can go ahead and do so, but I don't think that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to come anytime soon, as Bethesda Game Studios has said that they are working on 2 major projects before they even start work on the Elder Scrolls 6. So if what Bethesda Game Studios tells us is true, I don't think the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be here in 2017 or 2018. However, Bethesda Game Studios could be lying to us, because before the release of Fallout 4, they said the exact same thing, that Fallout 4 was a long way off, and then just a couple of months later, they announced the release date of Fallout 4. So it is possible that the Elder Scrolls 6 could come out in 2017 or 2018, but I don't think so. But who knows, we just have to wait and see. Moving on to some news involving Capcom and Street Fighter, Capcom has recently confirmed that there will not be a Super Street Fighter V. In an article recently published by TheGeek.com, it says this about the matter: For over 2 decades, it has been an established fact that each game in the Street Fighter series will inevitably receive multiple iterations, I hope that's how you say that, with each updated edition adding new characters, stages, and gameplay tweaks. Many wondered if this would continue in the Street Fighter V, but even before the game's launch, Capcom assured fans instead of having to buy an entirely new Street Fighter V title, they would receive additions through DLC. Capcom's statement about how Street Fighter V would be updated wasn't enough for some, as rumors recently popped up that a Super Street Fighter V was being developed. Before these reports were able to gain any traction, Capcom killed them outright by reiterating its previous statement that Street Fighter V would be the only version to be released. However, that's not all the article says about there not being a Super Street Fighter V. It also says this. Capcom's Matt Dalhaggreen, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, made it very clear to event hubs that there will never be a Super Street Fighter V. We're always looking at how we can innovate on the series model while keeping an eye on how receptive fans would be to a new type of offering for a Street Fighter game, said Dahlgreen, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Street Fighter V innovated on the series model by being service-based platform, which earnable post-launch content. Even now, the price point of the main retail offering has dropped, which is essentially the starter version of the game. However, even if we come up with new models, we are still committed to our promises that the initial release is still the only version you'll ever need to own, with all game updates and balance adjustments being available for free. Given the history of Street Fighter, it's easy to understand why this rumor would manifest. However, Capcom's approach to Street Fighter V proves that the company has no reason to release a super version of the game. This year alone saw the introduction of new characters, modes, stages, alternate costumes, and more. All of these add-ons were made available via DLC, not through a new game. So guys, there you have it. There will not be a Super Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V, the regular game, will be the only edition that you have to own, and you will have to purchase DLCs to actually gain access to more types of content. There will not be a Super Street Fighter V released with sort of all the content attached to it. Now guys, moving on to some news involving Nintendo and a classic SNES Mini console possibility, or some rumors. In an article recently published by mir.co.uk, it talks about how a classic SNES Mini might be coming soon. And that's because a trademark bot found that Nintendo filed a trademark for one of its controllers, shown in this picture here. But the article also goes on to say that this might not indicate that a mini version of the SNES is coming. This may just be Nintendo's way of stopping people from knocking off their product. And the article does go on to say if a mini SNES system is to come out, it's unlikely that we would see the mini SNES system anytime soon, or near Christmas 2017, because the Nintendo Switch is coming out next month. Now guys, I also have some Konami and Kojima Productions news for you today, as Guillermo del Toro has said "Fck Konami" once again. In an article recently published by WWG covering this matter, it says this. So it's pretty much well known that by now that Hellboy and Pacific Rim director Guillermo del Toro isn't much of a fan of Konami. Not only did the company can the director's collaboration with Hideo Kojima on the now infamous Silent Hill project, but it also mistreated the famed Metal Gear Solid director in his final months of employment. So leave it to Del Toro to once again voice his displeasure for the company in the clearest of ways. The director took to Twitter on December 24th, wishing everyone a happy holidays. Of course, he couldn't help but throw a jab at Konami as well. important holiday message that right true today, as they always have. Feliz Navidad, happy holidays. Fuck Konami, he noted on his Twitter. He would later correct himself, adding, I meant ring, sorry, still fuck him. Now, for those of you that don't know who Guillermo del Toro is, he is a famous movie director. As the article said, he directed Hellboy and Pacific Rim. And the reason why he's so displeased with Konami is because they mistreated Hideo Kojima, the game director of the Metal Gear series, which Metal Gear was an amazing game due to Hideo Kojima. And Konami mistreated him. Hideo Kojima then went on to start his own studio, Kojima Productions, where he is now working with Guillermo del Toro on Death Stranding, a video game featuring Norman Reedus. The article even says more about this matter, and it reads this. Del Toro has been quite vocal about the company for some time, nothing that the cancellation of Silent Hill's project, especially in the face of the popular and now removed PT demo, was one of the most moronic things he's ever witnessed. The company hasn't said anything about it otherwise, and Kojima has since parted ways with them, opting to work on his own project, Death Stranding, alongside his new founded team at the Kojima Productions. As all's well that ends well, though, as Del Toro has involvement in Stranding, recently appearing in the new trailer for the game earlier this month at the Game Awards 2016, and we're sure to see him talk more about the game in the months ahead, as well as with actor Norman Reedus, who also appeared in the forthcoming PlayStation 4 exclusive. Now guys, I understand why Guillermo del Toro is upset with Konami. Not only did Konami do some pretty questionable things with their upcoming games, canceling them and stuff like that, they also mistreated Hideo Kojima, the guy who made the Metal Gear series possible almost. They beyond mistreated him. If you actually read the articles on what happened to him, they mistreated him pretty badly, and he did so much for that company with the Metal Gear series, and they just said goodbye to him. But he is now working on his own game, Death Stranding, as it says in the article, which features actor Norman Reedus. This is a game I'm extremely excited to play. But anyways, guys, that's all the gaming news I got for you today. Sorry today's gaming news was a little bit longer than usual, as there were a lot more gaming news topics that happened today. Anyways, hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, as it really does help the channel grow. Anyways, I love each and every single one of you. I hope to see you guys right back here tomorrow. And remember, stay freaky.